Hello campers, welcome to Sabrina's kitchen. What you're looking at here is almost around 13-14 ounces of thick sliced cured bacon from Costco. It's a packet, they come in packets of 2. You don't always see them, they keep changing, but it's good stuff. So there's a whole packet of that sliced up pretty thin, chopped up, and then I drain my clams real firm, get them very dry, and I throw my clams in there, my chopped clams. So there's how much liquid is left in the can after I get the clams out. So the clams, these have been cooking on high heat for 20-25 minutes already. They're just starting to get brown. And what happens is it takes quite a while for the bacon grease to kind of get in there. This recipe calls for using the bacon grease to saute your onion and your celery, but I like to saute my clams in there and cook them quite a while, because then they're not so chewy and they just have a lot of added flavor. So I'll use a bunch of celery here. These are leeks. I like leeks a lot better than onions. They just have a better flavor. You know, they're kind of a hassle to prepare, but and then here's our potatoes, and it'll all go in here. These are peeled, and then I put them in for about 10 minutes. Yukon Golds are good. Red potatoes are nice too. Red ones are, if you can get them, I kind of shop for price and value, but it's either the golds or the reds, because they hold up pretty good. So I just cook them for 10 minutes. They're not really cooked all the way, and then I let them cool. After they're cool, they'll slice up real nice into tiny, like 1/4 to 1/2 inch cubes. So that's what I'm working on. I'm going to get going. I did add a couple of tablespoons of this canola oil before I put the bacon in there. And then, of course, I'll make a roux after this is all done, and I'm going to cook the celery and the onion in here. Then I'm going to make a roux, and I'll add this flour, probably about a cup of flour by the time I get done, and a cup of flour, and then I'll keep adding that clam juice, but also I'll use vegetable broth. The clam juice will go in there too, but the vegetable broth is good to make a roux, and I get it real thick. So I'll show you that in a little bit. So for those of you who don't use leeks, I can tell you right now, these have been cooking for a few minutes. I just working on the celery, and the leeks have such a great flavor. It's like 10 times the robust flavor of an onion. It just brings out this beautiful flavor, and the whole room smells different. It smells so great in here with this bacon and clams and stuff cooking. But by putting the leeks in there, oh my God, just a really great flavor. I'm going to keep going. You know, I'm getting this ready for the Super Bowl tomorrow. So my 49ers aren't in there, so I don't really have a favorite. But I like both of the teams playing pretty good football. Okay, a couple things going on here. So now I've browned my celery, my onion with my clams and my bacon. Now over here, I already cooked these potatoes, and now I'm dicing these potatoes up. What I'll do is I'll dice them all up, put them in there, and then the next thing I'm going to do is make a roux with this, all these meats and stuff here. I'm going to make a roux with my flour, and I'll have some vegetable bouillon. So I'll show you that next. So as you can see, now I'm making a roux with flour. The flour I put in, and I have a little bit of vegetable base, better than bouillon. So just kind of mixing this together. and it'll be pretty thick, but I'll add all that clam juice to it, potatoes, and then I add half and half, of course, butter. So that'll finish it up. Anyway, here's the roux. I'm getting it started. So as you can see, here's our roux, and that's about the consistency of it. Now I'm going to take this over. I'll put it, after I dice all these, I'll mix that roux in there, and then I'll put a cube of butter in, and I also have the wonder ingredient, but you put this in at the very end. Okay, so I'm low on half and half, so I'll just use milk. I think they call for milk in the recipe. I like half and half, or even whipping cream. Comes out really rich, and that's about it for now. I'll show you a picture when I finish up here. Okay, so I got a few things to finish off here. I'm going to melt this butter, cube of butter, melt this over here in the bouillon, vegetable bouillon that I have left. So that'll mix right in real easily. And then as you see over here, these aren't really the best potatoes that I had. The bigger ones are a little firmer at the bottom. You know, I can't emphasize enough, undercook your potatoes, because you can just cook them again. They're going to be in the soup, right? So I'm just going to cook. I can put them on, probably on low for an hour, and then just put it on warm, and it'll stay good. But otherwise, if you overcook them, then you end up like some of these smaller ones. They just get kind of mushy when you're trying to chop them up. Of course, they're going to break down. It's nice to have some cubes in there, though. So we're getting some butter going on here. I'm going to put that in my roux. I chopped it up and then it stuck itself back together. That's interesting. Anyway, it shouldn't take too long. Okay, so we'll just, I love using wood because it doesn't burn your hand, right? Nothing worse, you pick up a metal spoon, which is okay in something like this, this stainless. This is stainless infused aluminum. Those pans cost $150, $200, but you can't burn them. That's a really nice thing about them. So anyway, yeah, so that's my roux over there. And then if you were going to ask me what I call this, because New England clam chowder is very proper. It's very white, and this ain't white. This has all this bacon in there, and then I have the vegetable bouillon that makes it a little darker, so it's got more of a brown color to it. It will lighten up when I add the milk, of course, but this is NorCal chowder, bro. That's what I call it, the best. Okay, so I got the rest of that bouillon and the butter in my roux here. So, you know what I'm going to do now is I probably need another crock pot because that's already full of potatoes. So I'll break out another crock pot and have two of them going. And then, so after I cook it for an hour on low, then I'm going to put it on warm, and then I'll add the milk, and I'll add some half and half, because otherwise it'll be okay on warm, but if you cook it hot, you got to kind of watch the milk with that. So haven't tried it yet, guys. Try it in a little bit. So I'm heating this up again, this roux, because I want to add this clam juice. I want it to get mixed thoroughly in here rather than splitting it into two containers. So there it is. Where do these come from? I think they're from Indonesia. They're really good. Sustainable fishery, huh? Costco special. These are tender North Atlantic clams. Traders! Traders! Okay. Anyway, so here we're going to mix all this in and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, here's all the clam juice mixed in. So that thinned it out pretty good. But it's going to get real thick when I put it in with the potatoes. The potatoes break down a little bit. So that should be good enough. I tend to make it too thick usually. And then Elvie, who I cook for where I rent down in San Jose, she likes to thin it way down. So it'll have some milk and stuff in there too. So we'll see. I can adjust it if I have to. But for right now, I'm calling it good. Okay, a few things. Here's the wok that I use, this Calphalon, and it's that infused aluminum. It's stainless on this surface, but I cooked on high heat for a really long time. Nothing will ever stick to this. I mean, if stuff does stick to it, you just keep, like I add just some different ingredients and I cook it right in. Like when it starts to, when it started to get really dark, I mounded all of my bacon I had in there, onions, celery. I kind of mounded it, and a lot of oils came out of a lot of fat came out of the bacon as it got darker, and then I just sort of just scraped with that wooden spatula thing. I just kind of worked the edges, and it all went in. To me, that's the best part of the deal, the stuff that sticks on the bottom if it's not burnt. And then you got this. I don't measure anything. So there's one clam chowder. I put these in, I time them for an hour and they'll go off. Of course, this real crock pot, it's got a timer and everything, and when it shuts off, it's real nice. It goes to warm. But so this one, this rival crock pot, an older one, I'll have to manually do it. Here's the potatoes I used. Although Ryan, it's so funny, Ryan at our farmer's market meeting this week had these potatoes. He also had, God, what else? Celery. And I couldn't find celery at Costco. They were out for like a week. Went to a couple of Costco's and I got it at Trader Joe's. So Ryan turns up with all these potatoes and celery that I needed for this dish. So I'm still calling this the farmer's market clam chowder. So you see how this is coming out here? I said it wasn't that thick. Now I still have to add the milk. But see, when I put it in there with the potatoes, it's pretty thick. So after I get it on high heat for an hour, I'll shut the temperature down and I'll add milk and half. And that'll I can just get the texture that I want. So anyway, that's it for Sabrina's Kitchen today. Guys, thanks for visiting. And it's been raining outside. We got a big southeast wind coming. Today is a day before Super Bowl. So it's blowing like 30, I think, at the ocean. It's been raining hard all night. Perfect day to be cooking inside. Adios.